but I always like to let you know that we are recording. So we are going to, oops, I am having problems with my mouse. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit agenda today. We're going to have some District 4-H Day information. We're going to have some Regional 4-H Day information, volunteer screening, club leader calendar, which is a new thing I've kind of put up that would help, hopefully to help you guys know when you have to have things in. We're going to talk about some resources that we have. So this is kind of our training part. Kansas 4-H has been working really hard across the state, and they have a Clover Classroom, the Club Corner, and Spark Pages. And I want to kind of give you an idea of where to find those and also what they are. I'd like to have a little discussion about club leader notebooks and information and what's the best way for you guys to have those. I'd like to kind of go over financial reviews because I know we usually kind of wait till fall, and I'd like to get a head start on that. And then I have some YQCA and who needs to go to that, and then upcoming events and deadlines and dates. And of course, any questions or anything that you guys would like to discuss, we can do that as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So District 4-H Days is going to be basically February 26th. It's at Prairie View Middle School. I really think it's going to be in person. We're going to try to, I would encourage you all to try to social distance. We might not really be able to have the congregation in the hallways that we usually do, but I know some people have asked me about this and if we're going to go virtual or cancel. The only way we would do that is if the school decides or K-State decides, and I don't think K-State's going to decide that we need to not do it. And the only way would be is if the school said, hey, no, you can't come in. And I really don't think that's going to happen either. So I am probably 95% sure it's going to be in person, but that 5% is always up there. Registration is due February 4th. We will have a sign up. We're going to do the sign up for Cygnes for times again, and that'll probably be between February 11th and 16th. And as soon as we get registrations in and kind of get a schedule based, we'll assign clubs rooms as well. I didn't do that because I think there's going to be some changing of rooms and we might not need as many rooms yet. So I didn't have you sign up in January, that and the fact that I wasn't able to make the January council meeting. But I think we'll kind of do that way and I'll try to divvy it up between the clubs and make sure it's covered, but everyone's got a fair thing. So look for that to be coming out probably around that February 10th, 11th. Did I have a question there? Sorry. Okay. Oops. I did not go back. So Regional Club Days is another one, and it will be March 26th. And I obviously missed getting my slide in for it. I believe it's going to be in Ottawa this year, and we're still working out some of the details on that, but they do plan to be in person as well. So more will be coming on that as we get there. I'm not positive when we'll have to have, but as always, we'll have a sign up there on February 26th. We'll have a sign up for the March 26th Regional Day as well. So you can sign up that day. And but just wanted to get that on your calendars that March 26th is now definite. I think it came out as tentative in our newsletter, but today we got the word that they definitely have it for Ottawa. So, okay, volunteer screened. I actually was just at a training last week for Kansas 4-H, and we kind of got in trouble a little bit for our screening of volunteers. So we have so many who are screened volunteers, but they don't actually enroll in 4-H online. And then we have people who enroll in 4-H online, but really have never done the screening process. So we've got to try to get those matched up, and we're going to be working on that. And when I say we, it's Amy Evans, who is our program manager, and I will be working on that. So, if you have people who come up to you and go, I got an email from Amy or Carla, I thought I was good, just tell them that we do need that done. I have a couple questions in because I know some of them are in 4-H online as general volunteers. They're not in club leaders and they're not project leaders. And I didn't know that they had to be screened, but right now they're saying basically anyone who's in 4-H online who is not screened they're counting it against us in our total percentage of screened volunteers. So I just kind of wanted to let you know that that would be happening. We are also going to be contacting anybody, who are screened but are not enrolled as well, and try to get them enrolled. And you do have to re-enroll every year. So that is one of the things that we do. And I know most of you, I think, are doing really good at that. But I do have a few volunteers who forget to re-enroll every year. And that's the way you keep your volunteer status current. And in fact, now we basically have, so after 3 years, when you have to do the rescreening, as long as you're in 4-H online, I can send your rescreening in and you don't have to do anything except maybe pay the $10 fee. So other than that, you're basically, we just send in a list of names and say rescreen them, and they go through and pull your information from the background check website and rescreen them. So it actually makes it really easy, and you don't have to do any more paperwork other than 4-H online enrollment every year. So just wanted a quick bit about that. Any questions so far, I guess? Okay, so this is my MDC 4-H Club Leader Calendar, and I am going to try to share this with you guys tomorrow. I didn't get it out today. It is going to be on our website as well. And I just tried to kind of highlight some of the things that you might need, especially we have some new club leaders, and hopefully this will help you a little bit. It's not comprehensive. We have the guide and policy guide for MDC or Marais District, and that has kind of a calendar that's a little bit more inclusive of all activities. Excuse me. But October, enrollment begins. Club organizational reports are due by October 15th. That's the club. That's where you tell us who your officers are, who your club leaders are, project leaders, and also who your 4-H council representatives are. So that's kind of an important thing. So that's usually due October 15th of every year. In November, Club 4-H financial reviews are due by November 1st. And if your club does not get those in, basically state 4-H policy says that they are no longer considered a club. So it's really important that you get those financial reviews in. And I know I'm kind of preaching to my choir here because I believe all of you are pretty good, but I just want to give reminders to everyone. And maybe somebody will be listening to this as well and need that. January is basically our club day registration, and then usually returning members enrollment is due January 15th now. February is District 4-H Day registration closes, and District 4-H Day. March is usually Regional 4-H Day. Moving on, May, of course, and we're getting ready to start some of these. May is add drop or add delete project deadline, because I've had to kind of do my phrasing on that to make it more clear. And May 1st is also when horse identification certificates are due. And that's a state deadline. There's no wiggle room really on either one of those. So, and then of course, May 1st, somehow it didn't get on here, and it was at one time. May 1st is also when new member enrollment is due to show at fairs, either the Miami or Lynn County Fair. You can kind of see June is basically just day camps, workshops, different activities. July, we have fair pre-entries due for both counties. Miami County Fair. August is Lynn County Fair. State Fair pre-entries are due, usually static exhibits and non-livestock around that time. And then, of course, September is Kansas State Fair. And I know we've had some discussion about kind of maybe moving back Miami counties, which you all are Miami, yes. Moving back Miami counties 4-H achievement night, and maybe in that case also moving back when project report forms are due. So I have it as tentative in September. Might be October 1st that those are due, and whenever those are due, Club Seal applications are due, Club Project Rewards applications are due, and all of those things. So that's just a quick rundown. Hopefully it'll help a little bit with knowing when things are due. And I will, as soon as we finalize when our project report forms are due and our Club Seals and everything are all those year-end things are due, I will let you guys know that. hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have that. Okay. I guess any questions about kind of the club leader calendar? Okay. All right. So I think I've kind of talked about these a little bit. I know that some of them have been in the newsletter here lately, but there are several things that you can do that are club. We have what we call the Kansas 4-H Club Corner, and I'm going to show you where that is. So let me share a different screen. No. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. There it is. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you go to kansas4h.org and under resources, this is where there's a lot of things available now, and some of them are pretty new and they're adding constantly. So the first one I want to talk about is your 4-H Club Corner. And this is just a whole bunch of, some of it's not new, some of they've just revamped, but it is a whole bunch of things to help 4-H clubs and strengthen your club leader, US club leaders. These are similar to things to what I would have put in a club notebook later on, or, before, and they're just things that you need to know. So there is a lot of things. There's like a page on welcoming new 4-H members. There's a 4-H greet sheet. There's a 4-H club meeting reflections to kind of see how your meetings stack up. There's the new family guide. There's some creative ideas to enhance your club meetings. Of course, your club leaders toolbox, creative roll call ideas, some sample agendas, the learning pathway, which we're using a lot. Putting a meeting together, a 4-H project, more than a fair entry. There's some virtual team building, and connecting new families and 4-H parents committee. So all of those things are great if you're, if you need a little bit of, if you have some new ones on your 4-H parents committee and you want to kind of hand this out to them, if you're, have a new family or a new member, a person who's helping new families and welcoming them to the club, maybe connecting new families to 4-H would be a good one. So there's lots of good things. These are free. They're not password protected. You can just download them. And like I said, they're adding stuff all the time to this. So then the next one I want to talk about is the Clover Classroom. And this is probably more for your project leaders. But you could also do this. I know some of you do project meetings and some things during your club meetings, and these would be great for that as well. They are just lesson plans, basically, that have that you can do with your club. And I'm going to click on one, and hopefully it'll bring it up. I might have to share a different screen here. Nope, did not do it. Sorry. There it is. Okay, so hopefully you can all see that. And, it kind of talks about some things you'll do. It has self-evaluation and everything. But here is, so basically we're going to find and identify all the basic working parts to your camera in this one and take a few practice shots using the different zoom options. So it kind of talks about some things you do. You tell them what you learned, evaluate your experiences. It basically has, you're reviewing your camera's user guide, practice using your viewfinder, evaluate and share your photos, and it kind of goes through and gives you quick lessons. So there's several others available. So, there's a pollinators one about horticulture. There's a take a hike challenge. There's quick bread versus yeast bread, where you're going to try to make either one and see what the differences are. There's some basic communication. They've even got one that's junk drawer robotics, some tracking of wildlife, dynamic displays, which would be great for those of you who might be doing fair displays. There's a thrifty threads challenge, which I think is where you actually go to like a consignment shop and you have so much to spend and you try to find an outfit. There's macrame, so you can learn how to macrame, talk about horse safety. They're getting several reading, ruminants and livestock, and then sports fishing, let's go fishing. So there are several out there. They're getting more all the time. So if you've got some club leaders who are looking for some lessons or some ideas on what to do with some of your 4-Hers, this might be a good place to take them and see what you can find. And then I think, okay, so that was the Clover Classroom, and you can see some of the ones you're doing, and just talk about what you're doing. Then the other thing that I think is very helpful is what we call Spark pages, and they are new, especially to those new families who maybe are asking you, okay, so I signed up for visual arts. Now what do I do? Well, these are pages that Kansas 4-H have, and they're under the Kansas 4-H under projects page, and I can show you this. But it kind of tells some things like if you're starting out, what kind of knowledge do you need? What might be something you can do with them? It goes on into demonstration ideas, lots of different things on there. And so I think it's a really good tool. We have them for almost every project. I think there's a few that they're still working on. And there was a couple that they actually switched to the names of projects on us, but it is going pretty well. So let me take you to that one. So if you go here under the project tab, and then just any of the projects, like I had beef up there, and there's a Spark page. So you can actually download it. It's a free publication. And I'll stop share here again. Sorry, I know this is a lot of stopping share and then starting share, but it, like I said, it kind of goes through, what you might do, like starting out, maybe knowing your beef breeds, understanding the different types of feed, to maybe if you're advanced, you want to discover the diversity of the cattle or balance a feed ration, all of those things. And then it kind of expands your experiences. So especially if you're talking, healthy living, maybe record the health contributions gained from grooming, walking, and caring, all of those. It talks about careers and you might want to do and how you might do those. And then it also has resources, events, some curriculum, record keeping, and project ideas. So I think it's a good tool for our 4-Hers, especially as you get those new families who maybe, or even 4-Hers who are just new to the project, or any 4-Her really, because it kind of gives you an idea of some of the things you should be learning in your projects. Okay. And like I said, they have them on all of them, because I think the one thing is they like split out horticulture and agronomy now and forestry again, instead of just calling it plant science. So they're working on going from a 4-H plant science project to doing the horticulture. So anyway, any questions on those things? Okay. All right, so that kind of gives me the club leader notebooks. So the first one I showed you, the club corner things, are basically what I used to put in club leader notebooks. And we were like I said, I was at a training last week, and somebody said that they were redoing their club leader notebooks, and that their club leaders really wanted the notebooks again. I know we had a discussion several years ago with I have had a discussion with several of my club leaders, and we kind of went to where they didn't really want a notebook anymore. They just wanted them on the website available to them. So I guess that's my question. Would you prefer a notebook that had, record keeping, our records now, kind of the calendar, some things about meetings and different things like that? Or do you just want to be able to go out and find them on your own on our website or on kansas4h.org? So I'd like your feedback on that.
Hi, Carla. This is Teresa. I like the idea of having a notebook, just to have it available at meetings. If someone comes up and asks questions, it's readily available, easy to take, make copies or take a quick photo of it. And as long as we know that that's up to date. And so I guess that's the hard part, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I see you in the chat. We have website, we have notebook, and then we have another website. So anyone else would like to weigh in? And I could probably do it both ways. The big thing is, I think the notebook is keeping it up to date is the hardest thing, but that's not to say we couldn't do that. It kind of would become your responsibility too, to make sure that we were up to date. And, if you needed, I could try every, October or so to update something and just try to make sure that you all got it. Or if we change something, make sure you have it and put it in those.
Carla, this is Kathy Benny.
Yes.
I think that that's a good idea, because I do think it's kind of nice, especially if you're starting out as a new leader, to have all of those resources readily available. Because sometimes I feel like you can go and look for them, but maybe you don't even realize that it's something you need. You may not know to go look for that item. It's like, oh, I didn't know that existed, or I didn't realize that was a thing I was supposed to do, or something like that. So if it was in a notebook to start with, you'd have that immediate, you'd be able to just check that off. Even if it wasn't like with dates and stuff, it would at least have, like, here are the expectations, these are things that are your responsibility, that type of a thing. And so knowing that it's your responsibility, to then having access to those resources just right on hand would be really helpful.
Okay. And I think we're getting some good feedback. So I do appreciate all of this, because I do understand that, I kind of go back and forth, because sometimes I'm a notebook person. I really want that notebook. And then other times I want it all on my iPad where I can just get it as I need it. So I do understand that. That's kind of where we're at in society. I think we kind of go back and forth. So I appreciate that. Any other, I welcome any other opinions, anything you think.
If you do end up printing it, Carla, I would suggest sending a poll out, or having people, like RSVP or whatever, so that you print the correct number of copies, because it seems like really wasteful to print them off if people aren't going to pick them up or use them.
No, I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Anne. Anyone else have a comment either way, notebook or just online website?
Hey, Carla. Oops,
Yes.
Sorry.
No? Go ahead, Paula.
Sorry, I lost my thing. The one thing I would say is we're trying to get some new leaders in our group. And I guess I'm not familiar with a notebook. I'm new to 4-H.
Yeah.
So I would not want anything incredibly overwhelming. So like if it's a 3-inch notebook, I'm not going to convince anybody to be the leader.
I do. I mean, we used to, it's been a while since I've done them. It's probably been 6 to 8 years. Because I did find that people weren't really using them. And like I said, we had a discussion, and they were pretty bulky because you had all of your record book information in there, and you had everything that, and I'm thinking we can make that a little bit clearer, even just by doing like sources maybe, or, even, I don't know. We'll figure something out so it's not quite
That's what I
so
would
big.
hope. I mean, there is a lot of it online right now, and I hear what you're saying. If you tried to capture everything,
Yeah,
it would be overwhelming, I think.
it is. And I agree with you on that. And that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up, because I don't want to overwhelm anybody. I just want to make sure you guys have the things you need to do to be those club leaders, because I know you're all trying hard, and I know you're doing a great job. I just want to make sure that I'm supporting you as much as I can. So that's my goal. We'll talk about that. Yeah. So anyone else? Any thoughts, comments?
Maybe even just having like a resource sheet that you could email out to people. I personally prefer that, where I could just go back to my email and click on a link to know that it's most up to date. Then if you're having your club meeting, we do a lot of field trip club meetings, and it's inconvenient to carry the big binder. I used to take it everywhere, and now I don't. And so that would just be one suggestion. Then you always know it's up to date, and you have all of your resources in one spot.
Yeah. Now they do change my links sometimes, so that does happen on us. So I'm not going to say we're always going to be up to date on that way either. But I do like that idea too, and maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe, when you talked about the RSVP, which I think is a great idea, maybe we do. Would you prefer? And we give you guys a choice, and if you want a notebook or if you want both, that's okay too, because I probably will put the resource sheet in the notebook as well. But yeah, we'll figure those out. So, and this is probably going to be an Amy project anyway, so that'll work. Just also, I know this is kind of different, but I just wanted to let you know that so Amy Evans she was a former 4-H'er. She's our program manager now, but she was a former 4-H'er in Lynn County, and her kids are new to 4-H, but she hasn't really been involved for the last, I don't know, however many years. So I kind of have her trying to do some new family and new member information, things that she thinks would be helpful to new members to understand 4-H. So if you have any suggestions for that, or somebody you want, if somebody tells you need something, we're going to try to start putting together some, whether it's a Facebook post or a video or just an FAQ, a sheet or something that says a little bit about what's going on, just something that would help new families and new members realize what we're doing and what we're talking about and that type of thing. So I would appreciate, you can email me, call, anything you have that way that you think, if you think of something that new members might need, let us know and we'll try to work on that. So that was kind of a off topic, but it popped in my head. So, okay. Anyone else want to talk or give me an opinion about the Club Leader Notebook? Okay. All right. So I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to do some notebooks. I'm probably not going to do very many at the first. And then I will do an RSVP out to you guys to kind of see if you'd rather have a notebook or if you want just a resource sheet. But we'll kind of go from there. And it's probably, we might get it out. Oops, sorry, as I throw my pen. But hopefully we'll have some of it out. But I don't know how quickly we'll get all of that out. So it probably is going to be, hopefully in the next couple months, we can get some of it. It might be next fall before we get the majority. We might have some additions until next fall as we go through this. So, but I think that'll be great. So thank you for your input. I really appreciate it. I think it was good discussion and I appreciate your input. So, okay, moving on. We are getting closer to being done. Okay, so I wanted to just talk a little bit about financial reviews because I know we have some new leaders, and I think there's a lot of questions about financial reviews. So you have to do a financial review every year to keep your 4-H club basically as a club. It, it's part of the state policies, and basically what happens to it is it gets reviewed by me and it's 4-H staff, and then it also gets reviewed by my executive extension board, because extension board actually has jurisdiction over all funds raised in the name of 4-H. So when you have your 4-H checking account, our extension board who's elected is actually the people that are kind of in charge of that. And that's one of the reasons we have to do these. So they're due November 1st of every year. It's the same form. It's just a 1-page or 2-page basically front and back form that needs to be done. The committee just meets sometime in that October, usually time frame, to review your treasurer's records. They sit down, they look to see what the treasurer's done. They have to fill out the forms and answer those questions. And they're pretty simple questions. It might be, what is your biggest fundraiser? Where's your checking account located? Those type of thing. Committees really ideally should be 2 adults and 2 4-H members. I know that's sometimes hard, but if you can put that on your committee, and maybe now's the time to actually see if you have a committee, or try to find committees. And the one thing that I think we have lots of problems with is if your signature on your account. So even if you're not maybe writing the checks, but as a leader, you're usually on the account, you cannot serve on the committee. So you've got to find 2 other adults and 2 4-H members who want to serve on that committee. Who's not the treasurer, can't be related to the treasurer, can't be, any of those, can't be a signature on the account either. And that seems to be the one thing that we really kind of have the most trouble with in our district, is that we like to put the signature person who is a signature on the account on the review committee. And I understand that it's because it's easier and you guys are, trying to do the best you can, but we really need to keep that from happening. So, if you cannot find somebody, because I know we have some small clubs, I know we're growing. I think the good news is I think we are actually growing a little bit in membership right now. So that's great. And that's all to you guys, because you're the ones that are out there, and your 4-Hers who are out there helping and getting people to join. But you can ask a neighboring club or non-member individuals to help complete the review. So if you know somebody who, maybe a past 4-H parent who would be willing to do it, or, if you want to switch with another club, we can make that work too. So there's many ways of doing it, but they do have to be due November 1st. And so I don't want to, usually we wait until like August to really talk about them. And I almost feel like that's almost too late sometimes with everything going on. So just kind of keep that in mind as you go through this year, that you need to be thinking about that, getting your committee together. If you don't already, maybe you already assign a committee. That might not be a bad idea. If you don't, that might be something you need to start in October, is just putting it on your standing committees with everybody else. So anyway, I need to start doing that in 4-H council and junior leaders as well. But all right, any questions on financial reviews? Okay. Okay, so YQCA is our youth quality. I can't even remember what's that mean. Control, yeah. But anyway, it's basically, it's quality control on our animal projects for a livestock. And basically, to show any livestock at Lynn or Miami County Fair, you must have completed a YQCA training. Now, there is an online version of the training, and you can do that. And I know there's a date on that. I don't know what it is yet, because Caitlin actually sets that date. So it'll be in the newsletters coming up. But we have several that are coming up in about a month. So a little over a month. And I want to make sure you all are aware of that. So you can tell your livestock kids. And this is, beef, sheep, goats, swine, they all need to take this. We don't have to have poultry doesn't have to take it. Rabbits do not have to take it, but the rest of them do. So we have our first one is March 15th at 10 a.m. at the payola office. And this is one that is really geared for those younger 4-H members. It's for 7 to 11-year-olds. And Caitlin basically takes them through a little more of abbreviated, easier to understand for them session. That doesn't mean they can't go to one of the others if you can't make it then, but I would encourage any 7 to 11-year-old to try to make it there because I think it'll be a lot easier and more enjoyable for them. March 15th at 2 is basically for all ages. So this would be anybody. We have March 25th at 6 at the Lynn County 4-H building. And you can go to any of these. Miami County 4-Hers can go to the Lynn County 4-H building. Lynn County 4-Hers can go to the Paola office for theirs. And then our last one is April 26th at 7 p.m. I believe our deadline, like I said, I think it's around June 15th. So if you cannot attend one of these, you will have to do the online training, and that is available as well. So just a quick update. And like I said, it's a must-have to show livestock, which is beef, sheep, swine, or goats at the Lynn or Miami County Fair. And I know that they also encourage bucket calves to come, and it is because we talk a lot about beef, so it's a good thing for bucket calves to learn about. It's basically about raising meat animals. So, okay. And then some upcoming events and deadlines. Like I said, February 4th, which is Friday, is Club Day. Pre-entries are due. February 26th is Club Day at PVMS. March 11th is beef tagging in both counties. March 26th is Regional Day. May 1st is Add Delete Project deadline and new member enrollment deadline and horse identification certificate deadline. So just make sure your families are aware of all those. We've been sending the newsletter, and I do know that I have gotten reports from a couple of families who didn't get it. So I know that people are actually looking at it, which I appreciate, and trying to stay informed. Hopefully we aren't overwhelming anybody with that. We try to keep it as short as we can, but we also want to make sure we give it all the details in there. And okay, so our next club leader training Zoom is going to be March 30th at 7 p.m. via Zoom again. So hopefully that you've got that on your calendar and it works out. And we'll be talking more about some of the upcoming things. I'll probably go over kind of my yearly use of the 4-H clover and talk about some more fair things. And I do know I did actually add another one that have a May Zoom training this year too. And that's just so we can talk more about fair and make sure that you're aware of what's going on and keep everyone informed. So, and with that, thank you all for attending tonight. Hopefully it was a good meeting. I appreciate all your feedback. And I guess, are there any other questions before we really end, or anything you guys want to talk about?
Carla, I know that you said this meeting is being recorded. If my club leader partner wants to look at it, where would they find it?
Okay, so we put it out under club leader resources on our magazine page under 4-H Youth Development. We have a club leader resource page, and it's usually towards the top of the thing. Although we are moving that around a little bit because we're going to try to put all the forms that you guys need, like the financial reviews and those at the very top. But yes, they are always out there for that. And we try to keep about a year's worth, at least 9 months worth of them out there. I also do try to send them out too. So I will try to send it out to you as club leaders as well.
Thanks.
No problem. Any other questions or things we need to talk about? Okay, well, thank you all for all the hard work you're doing with our clubs. I'm really happy to say I'm seeing a lot of new members coming in, which I really do appreciate because I know that that's really on you guys and your 4-Hers. So I think everything's going well, and I appreciate all your help. And, if you ever need anything, let me know, because I'm here to help you and support you as much as I can. So thank you all, and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, Carla.
You're welcome.
Hey, Miss Carla.
Yes.
I just have some quick questions over some shooting sports stuff.
Okay, I'm going to stop my recording if that's okay, real quick.
Okay, you're fine.